This is a big moment in many ways, isn't it? To see Finland join the alliance in this way, it's big for Finland after its detachment, independence from NATO for so long, and it's a very big moment for NATO. So, all in all, a significant turning point for Europe.
Yeah, it was an important voting today, and the parliament really voted it a great majority, 184 votes in favor, 7 against for the NATO membership. This means that all political parties actually were supporting the NATO membership. And of course, we are waiting Sweden to do the same decision very soon, and then hopefully being members of NATO, hopefully before the Vilnius summit in the mid-July.
Yes, and that vote, Minister, 184 of your MPs voted in favour of joining NATO, only 7 against. There was one abstention. It's a mark of how opinion has shifted so dramatically since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I mean, and there's your country, Finland. I wouldn't call it neutral. You have such a well-trained, such a well-equipped military force, but the opinion swung so much in favour of NATO. This was inevitable.
Yes, I think it was the Russian aggression against Ukraine and the war that Russia started at the 24th of February last year that really triggered the change of the opinions, both first in Finland and then in Sweden. And I think it's now very clear that we need more security, more support against all kinds of threats, not only for traditional military threats, but also hybrid cyber threats and so forth, and to work with NATO on these issues is better.
I'm keen to get your thoughts on Sweden's application for membership in just a moment, but just a word more on your own country. What will be Finland's particular contribution to the alliance as a military power? It'll be important to combined operations as well as being a military force in its own right. What will Finland bring to the table?
Well, we have actually all the time been keeping our conscription system. We have 300,000 people as reservists in Finland and so forth. So all these issues, strong military, good equipment, big reserve, are certainly the strengths for our country.
Now, let's talk about Swedish membership, which is being impeded by Turkey. Turkey have their beef with Sweden, which has to do, among other things, but maybe chiefly to do with the presence of Kurdish militants in Sweden. They want them extradited, and that's not happening. And that means NATO is being denied a valuable new member in the form of Sweden. How do you think the NATO alliance, Minister, should deal with that?
Well, of course, it has been a little bit painful to follow that we have both Finland and Sweden, 28 NATO member states that have very rapidly ratified our membership, and then 2 missing ratifications, actually Turkey and Hungary. And both of them have delayed the process, and still there is some uncertainty on the Turkish ratification, actually both for Finland and Sweden, but particularly the concerns are linked to Sweden. I think it's a little bit unfair to combine other issues on these security issues, particularly when there is a war in Europe, and also some of the security concerns are in the Baltic Sea, like the explosion of the Nord Stream. So these security concerns are very close to us.
Yes, I mean, is this problem soluble, do you think? And if so, how?
Well, I think it is. We can solve that. We actually established this kind of tripartite working group with Turkey. We have now scheduled the next meeting for the 9th of March in Brussels, in the NATO headquarters, where we are sitting together, Turkey, Sweden and Finland. And I think these terrorist issues are very clear. Terrorist organization PKK is forbidden in Finland, in Sweden, in the whole Europe. And we just have to confirm Turkey, of course, that we are fighting against terrorism as Turkey is doing. And at the same time, of course, that we will be fulfilling all our NATO obligations fully. Sweden and Finland.
Well, does that mean, you think, is Turkey being unreasonable in its objections to Sweden becoming a NATO member?
Well, I think Turkey has been using the opportunity to keep up their concerns, and sometimes in discussions they say that, well, it's not only about Sweden, Finland, it's about the other European countries or other NATO member states and so forth. They have, of course, underlined this. They have been using this momentum to take up their concerns and so forth, but I think they are at the same time preventing NATO for strengthening at this moment when we have a Russian attack in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, look, you hope to be and will soon be a member of NATO. You are already a strong supporter of Ukraine and its war with Russia. We know that Vladimir Putin's hope is that the alliance behind Ukraine will weaken. They will lose interest. They'll lose their enthusiasm. They will simply flake away over time. Are you worried about the strength of Ukraine's friends, that vital alliance to the Ukrainian military effort?
Of course, we have now a good alliance supporting Ukraine. Finland has used almost 1 billion euros for military support. We have been sending a lot of military materials to Ukraine, and this is the same as many European Union countries, what UK is doing, what US is doing. And of course, we have to maintain this very common front and be prepared also for the long fight.
And do you share the view? Do you share the view that allies, other members of that alliance, like Germany, ought maybe to be stronger in their support of Ukraine?
Well, of course, all countries have their internal debates on the issues. It's not so easy, I understand that. And also when we have been putting the new sanctions packages against Russia. But finally, for example, European Union has been, I would say, surprisingly unified on the support, both on the sanctions and then sending military support to Ukraine. So I'm not so concerned. And I think the transatlantic cooperation and including the cooperation with UK has been excellent.
Right, you are now seeking to join NATO. You are already a member of the European Union, and Ukraine is really so keen to be a member of the European Union. Do you support that application? And should it be in any way speeded up? Can it be?
Well, we definitely support that. We were voting in favor of Ukraine being a candidate country as well as Moldova. But of course, at the same time, also all candidates have to fulfill certain criteria and there are certain steps to be taken, but definitely we are ready to support the rapid membership of Ukraine, also to European Union. I think it's a very important step of Ukraine.
Well, I'm John Pienaar, and if you found that interesting, we are here each day, Monday to Thursday, 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock on Drive, and from 7 till 8, Pienaar and Friends, where we discuss the big stories of the day each day on Times Radio.